Ladies and gentlemen, something just snapped in New York City hours after Zoran Mamdani stood on stage, fist in the air, taking direct aim at President Donald J. Trump. The markets moved. Small business owners panicked. CEOs called emergency meetings. And by sunrise, leases were being torn up and moving trucks were already lining Manhattan streets because Mamdani didn't give a victory speech. He declared an economic war. He called out Trump by name, attacked landlords, billionaires, and every entrepreneur who dares to create jobs in this country. He promised free buses, frozen rents, union power, the whole socialist checklist. But here's a twist. It's not the billionaires who will pay this price. It's the workers, the shop owners, the middle-class families now watching their city unravel in real time. Guys, today, we're going to break down exactly how Mamdani's anti-Trump crusade has already backfired, triggering a mass exodus, economic freefall, and the most radical backlash New York has seen in decades. Hit the like button, subscribe. All right, let's start right where this all began. That now infamous victory speech. Because what Zoran Mamdani delivered on election night wasn't a message of unity or hope. It was a declaration of war against President Donald J. Trump and, by extension, every American who believes in free enterprise. He stood on stage, fist clenched, and said, "Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, I have 4 words for you. Turn up the volume." That's not governance. That is provocation. He didn't thank voters. He didn't talk about jobs. He launched a tirade against the very system that made New York thrive for over a century. The entrepreneurs, the landlords, and the job creators who keep the city alive. And so Trump, now back in the White House and steering a booming national economy, has been crystal clear about states that sabotage growth through overtaxation and socialism. And so what does Mamdani do? He paints a target on his own city. Yeah, I know. I can't even make this stuff up, guys. He called out the Donald Trumps of our city, vowed to hold them to account, and he promised to end corruption by taxing and regulating them into oblivion. Now, that wasn't a celebration. It is a manifesto. And the crowd cheered, not realizing that the very people that he demonized are the ones that are signing their paychecks. Then came the laundry list, the socialist playbook disguised as policy. Free buses, frozen rents, labor expansion, city-run groceries. Every single one sounds compassionate right up until you ask the one question that only matters. Well, who's paying for all this stuff, right? Because let's be honest, guys, nothing's free. Somebody is footing the bill. And in Mamdani's New York, it won't be the career activists and the influencers who got him elected. It will be the small business owners that are already buried under payroll taxes and compliance costs. He's promising this utopia while the math screams collapse. You freeze rents, landlords will stop investing. You make buses free, transit deficits explode. You want to tax the rich? Well, the rich end up leaving. This isn't compassion. It is controlled demolition disguised as progress. And that's why tonight investors are pulling capital, franchise owners are pausing expansions, and CFOs are quietly mapping routes out of the city. Now, you already know, it's funny when I see these policies that slowly drain a city's wealth. I can't help but to think what happens to retirees every single year with these outdated Medicare plans. Because the slowest leak in retirement, it's not a bad investment. It's an outdated Medicare plan. Premiums rise, benefits shrink, and money quietly drains away. This is why I partner with Chapter, guys. I mean, they patch the leaks and they optimize your Medicare coverage so that so more money stays where it belongs with you. Now, one of our viewers, she said, "I didn't even realize how much I was losing until Chapter reviewed my plan." Wow. How much are you losing is the real question. So let me ask, are you just going to keep watching your money leak away? Or are you going to do what most people are already doing and fixing it? Now, most people are already dialing that phone number right there at the bottom of your screen, or they're visiting askchapter.org/Ron. That phone number again is 909-563-8279. And when you call Chapter, tell them Ron says hello, okay? Do that for me? All right. So, and here's what another viewer just shared with me after switching. So Donna Perry, she wrote, "Chapter helped me, Ron, save $600 and more. Thank you, Ron. I mentioned your name, smiley face." Hey, guys, that's real money back into real pockets. This is something that New York's socialists could learn a thing or two from. Now, the warning lights are flashing red, but Mamdani's cheering crowd they're just too busy chanting to notice that the walls are closing in on them. I mean, let's talk about what's actually happening behind the scenes, shall we? Because while Mamdani was giving his anti-Trump victory speech, business owners were making phone calls, not to congratulate him, but to get out. I'm talking about a quiet exodus. Leasing agents are saying that deals are suddenly on hold. Real estate brokers are getting phone calls from companies wanting sublets fast. You've got restaurant owners, logistic firms, and boutique manufacturers. They're all saying the same thing. If this is what New York voted for, oh, we're gone. And can you blame them? Like when you threaten to freeze rents and hike taxes, it's not just billionaires who react. It is everyone with a balance sheet. Now, we've already seen this story before. You guys remember California? Drop a California down below if you remember that, right? Elon Musk pulled Tesla operations to Texas. Joe Rogan moved his entire business to Austin. The Daily Wire left for Tennessee. Hundreds of firms followed, draining billions of dollars in taxable income. And so now Mamdani is importing the same blueprint straight into Manhattan from California. The fallout is predictable. Collapsing commercial leases, disappearing investment, and yes, layoffs. Of course, layoffs. I mean, you can't build a worker's paradise when the employers are fleeing the zip code. You see what I'm saying here? This is why your screen should flash with a single phrase. Businesses flee New York. Businesses flee NYC, because it's not a slogan. It's actually happening. But what makes this moment even more dangerous? It's how it's being sold. So Mamdani's rise was packaged as this immigrant hero story. You know, the son of Ugandan refugees, the symbol of progress, the voice of the new New York. The media couldn't get enough of it. I mean, they said he represented inclusion, diversity, hope. But here's the twist. That narrative is unraveling, because when your policies destroy opportunity, it really doesn't matter where you came from. You're still killing the same dream that brought your parents here. Now, the so-called immigrant hero has now become the face of economic regression. He didn't unite New York. He divided it between dreamers who want to build and activists who want to control. And as that identity shield cracks, even some of his early supporters are realizing representation means nothing if your paycheck disappears. Now, the myth of Mamdani the reformer is over. Now, what's left is Mamdani the radical. And the mask, well, let's just say the mask just slipped. Now, here's where things get real interesting, because it's not just Wall Street panicking anymore. It is Main Street. It's the church pews, the boardrooms, and even the very communities that Mamdani claimed to represent. Faith leaders are stepping up, rabbis, pastors, imams. They're saying that they don't want their congregations dragged into another round of socialist chaos crap. They're warning that envy is not a virtue, that class warfare is not compassion. And CEOs, well, they've started writing open letters. One Fortune 500 executive said it perfectly. You can't demonize success and expect success to stick around. Even small business groups, many of whom voted Democrat for decades, are quietly shifting allegiance. Why? Because when their faith and their finances collide, they choose survival. This is why your title, New York Revolt, Mamdani's radical agenda backfires as faith leaders and CEOs push back. It's not an exaggeration. This is really the mood of the city, and you can feel it building. The pressure is increasing. So the same people who cheered his diversity narrative, they're now whispering, we might have made a mistake. And make no mistake about it, this backlash is growing. It's no longer left versus right. It's producers versus parasites, builders versus bureaucrats. As history tells us, it already tells us which side wins when push comes to shove. You know what I'm saying? And so the fuel for this backlash, Mamdani's own words, his speech didn't just attack Donald Trump. It attacked anyone who dared to build anything. Quote, "We will hold bad landlords to account because the Donald Trumps of our city have grown far too comfortable." That's not leadership. That is resentment in a suit. He followed it up with even more. He said, "We'll put an end to the corruption that has allowed billionaires to evade taxation." Translation, anyone with ambition is now the enemy. This is textbook class war rhetoric. This is the kind that was used in every collapsing socialist regime in history. And it's driving fear into every corner of New York's investment community. Because when politicians start talking about accountability, they usually mean confiscation. Landlords are holding back new developments. Investors are diverting funds to Florida and Texas. Even mid-size employers are looking to relocate. Why? Because they've seen what happens when the mob turns on the market. And the result? A city once built by visionaries is now governed by vengeance. You want to see what happens when idealism collides with reality? I mean, just look at Mamdani's so-called free bus revolution. He promised it like it was a gift from heaven. No fares for anyone. A city where mobility is a right. Sounds nice in a speech, right? But here's what they don't tell you. The MTA is already $48 billion in debt. The subways need modernization, bus routes are understaffed, drivers are threatening strikes, and now the city's new socialist hero wants to make it all free. So Real quick, guys, for anyone who's paying attention right now, where does the money come from? It doesn't. It disappears from infrastructure budgets, from police funding, from schools. And then when the system finally collapses, they blame the rich and demand even more taxes. This is the same twisted logic that we've seen in San Francisco. Free needles, free tents, free chaos. Y'all remember that? If you do, drop a yes. I mean, you destroy a city by convincing people that they shouldn't have to earn what they use. And the tragedy? It kills ambition. It kills work ethic. The same mindset is spreading. Workers demanding entry-level pay equal to management, protesters saying corporations owe us instead of let's build our own, and the real virus, entitlement economics. And it's spreading faster than any pandemic. And of course, as the year wraps up, most people start reflecting. What went right? What went wrong? And what's next? But let me ask you something. If the next 12 months looks like the last 12, will your savings still be safe? Now, this question alone has pushed thousands of Americans to finally take action. And it's actually exactly why I partnered with Noble Gold Investments, because they don't sell fear, they sell clarity. They help people move part of their retirement into real gold and silver, assets that have outlasted every empire, every crash, and every currency. And so when people see how simple it is, they always say, well, that makes sense. And this is why most people right now are calling Noble Gold at 800-646-5347 at the bottom of your screen. You can see the phone number right there, or they're visiting RonYatesGold.com to get their free wealth protection kit. Before another year slips away, make sure your money's working for you and not against you. But it gets even worse, guys. So Mamdani isn't just playing socialist Santa. He's playing international lawyer too. You guys remember that jaw-dropping clip from his campaign trail, right? The one where he said that he would arrest Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu if he ever set foot in New York? Let that sink in, okay? A city mayor claiming he would arrest a sitting head of state, as if local police have jurisdiction over international law. So he doesn't even understand how the game works. He cited the International Criminal Court as if it's the NYPD. This isn't just naive, it is dangerous. Because when a mayor starts making promises he can't keep legally, it's not leadership. This is delusion wrapped in activism. Even liberal legal experts called it fantasy. One former prosecutor said he's confusing world politics with local politics, and it's embarrassing. So this is why credibility matters, okay? You can't preach law and order while ignoring the law itself. And New Yorkers are starting to notice, they're starting to ask, if he'll lie about that, then what else is he lying about? And this is how socialist dreams collapse, not from outside attacks, but from the inside rot of incompetence. And you can tell a lot about a city by who's leaving it. And right now, New York's leaving itself. Capital is mobile, and under Mamdani, it is moving fast. From Fifth Avenue offices to Wall Street firms, the migration maps look like blood draining from a wound. Now, one business association estimated that over $8.7 billion in private capital has already been redirected toward Florida, Texas, and Tennessee since Mamdani's election night speech. And who could blame them, right? I mean, look at the pattern. Elon Musk left California for Texas. Joe Rogan left Los Angeles for Austin. The Daily Wire, same story. All of them fled the same thing that Mamdani is promising: high taxes, government control, and activist mobs calling the shots. Aren't New York taxes already high enough? Drop a high enough down below if you think New York taxes are already high enough, and this guy wants to raise them even more. So when you punish the producers, they pack up and leave. When you tax innovation, it relocates. And when you tell business owners that success is a sin, well, they stop confessing and they start moving. That ain't capitalism. That is collapsing. That is capitalism defending itself. And so every time one of these companies leaves, picture it, another neighborhood loses its spark, jobs vanish, tax revenue falls, you'll have another empty store in the middle of a shopping center, and the social programs that were meant to help the poor, well, they end up running dry too. This is not a theory anymore, guys. It's just math. And this kind of brings us to the tipping point. This is the ticking clock moment, because this is what it looks like when a city starts to crumble from the inside out. Commercial property vacancies in Midtown are rising again. Rental applications are down. Tourism is cooling. And businesses that stayed behind are quietly trimming payrolls, afraid to say the truth out loud. Meanwhile, Mamdani stands at a podium shouting slogans about equity and justice, while the very people he claims to represent are losing their jobs. I mean, you can't freeze rents when the landlords are bankrupt. You can't run free buses when the routes are empty. And you can't build socialism on a shrinking tax base. This is a collapse in real time. And here's the irony, guys. It is happening under President Donald J. Trump's second term while the rest of the country is booming. Florida, Texas, Tennessee, they're thriving. New York, under Mamdani's revolution, burning its own future for applause. So as America rises again, New York stands as the cautionary tale, proof that when you trade freedom for fantasy, you end up losing both. Now, this isn't just about one mayor. This is about a movement. This is a reminder that socialism sells fast, but freedom always collects the bill. Mamdani wanted a revolution, but what he's getting is an evacuation. Like, subscribe, and share because the truth deserves to travel faster than the exodus leaving New York tonight.